Good morning class 10. Today we are doing with the ninth part of the chapter 6, that is the peasant and the workers movement. In the earlier parts we have already dealt with the peasant movement in the anti-partition, non-cooperation, civil disobedience and quit India movement. Now we have already started the workers movement in the anti-partition, in the non-cooperation, and today we are going to deal with the labor movement during civil disobedience movement. As we have already known, the labor movement was already well organized and armed movement during the non-cooperation. But it received more impetus or force during the civil disobedience movement. During civil disobedience movement, the labor movement foresaw a new future of them in the India's freedom national movement. They also contributed like the peasants in the Indian national movement, and the Congress leaders with other working class and union leaders both togetherly fought for the labor movement as well as the Indian national freedom. Now we will start with labor movement receiving a force during the non-cooperation movement. We will start with labor movement receiving a force during the civil disobedience movement. It was given some kind of program of action, some kind of leaders added to it, which strengthened the labor movement during the civil disobedience movement. Then we are coming to that because of India's first observance of India's Independence Day on 26 January 1930, this made the leaders imagine in other parts of India, like the labor leaders, labor union leaders as well as Congress leaders, were given a new hope for the Indian national movement, as well as the labor movement also received a force from the and were motivated from the first observance of the Indian Independence Day of 26 January 1930, where it led to the organization of 20,000 workers who started the rebellion in Bombay and demanded Purna Swaraj or complete independence. They demanded that because of India's being observing a day called Indian Independence, now India want nothing but Purna Swaraj and complete independence from the foreign British rule. And the labor movement also saw this as an opportunity of rebelling against the torturous treatment given out to them by the British government. Next, we will come to the role of Gandhiji during the civil disobedience movement. As we all know, the civil disobedience movement means disobeying the laws made by the foreign rules. The first disobedience or civil disobedience followed by Gandhiji was not paying the salt tax. As salt was a regular item and paying a heavy tax on salt was a direct hit on the Indian people and Indian sentiments. And so Gandhiji was the one person who organized a movement against the laws made by the British, and this was called a civil disobedience law. As we all know, the civil disobedience movement was directly launched against the salt tax, by which we also know the Dandi March, which was done by Gandhiji and his followers by disobeying the salt tax. Now we will see that how Gandhiji and other important Congress leaders provocated and inspired other labor leaders to organize workers' movement in GIP, Railwaymen Union, and we will see cotton mills workers of Kirni Kamgarh organizing the labor movements. So in different phases, and workers of Lilua, Howrah and many other places were arrested and killed of just organizing a labor movement. So we can well imagine the torture that was given out to them by the British government. The condition, the unhygienic condition they used to live, and the labor hour and the wages, the meager wages they were paid, this all was a show of the torturous imperialistic power ruling over India, that is the British rule. Now we will see the Whitley Commission Whitley Commission was a commission which showed that the commission, according to the commission report, 1/3 of the population of the workers were under poverty. They were very, very poor. They were living below poverty line. But the government was unaware of it. And because of being unaware of it, they led to the passing of two laws, the Trade Dispute Bill and the Public Safety Bill. These two bills were directly hitting against the Indian humanistic sentiments, which was actually done to oppress and repress the workers' movement and the Communist Party movement in India. It was actually done to curtail the power of the labor movement in India. This was Whitley Commission, which showed that 1/3 of the population of the workers were under poverty. And the government, being unaware, passed two bills, that is the Trade Dispute Bill and the Public Safety Bill. These two bills were directly against the Indian sentiments, which led to the repression of the labor movement. Now we'll come to the very important part of this chapter, is the Meerut conspiracy case. This was a conspiracy case in which 33 communist union leaders from different parts of India, 33 important leftist leaders were arrested on a false lawsuit. A false case was given on them as being conspiring a conspiracy against the British rule in Meerut, and hence it is called as the Meerut conspiracy case. In this case, many important leaders like P.C. Joshi, Muzaffar Ahmad and many others leaders were arrested on the basis of a false lawsuit, which said that these leaders was conspiring against the British government, and hence they were arrested and kept there for a long term of imprisonment. This action was thought by the Indians as a way of curtailing the communist labor movement in India. This Meerut case led to the curtailment of Young Comrade League, Young Communist Party and the Communist Party in India, and led to the ban of important communist labor parties in India, which was a kind of conspiracy on the British side to repress and suppress Communist Party in India. This is Meerut conspiracy case. This video clip will be followed by the PDF, and where you will get important notes. Thank you.